listening to Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul. Today is Monday, July the 27th, 2020. And Paul just got back into Brentwood. Plane just landed about an hour ago. So he is in Brentwood, Tennessee. Adam Freeman with you here from Atlanta, Georgia. And just right off the bat, Brees, we're going to get right into hot takes. First hot take, obviously. This is my first day back today. Listen, when I was you were on the plane, I guess, and I was texting you.
Yeah.
And I'll just pull up the text right now because I wasn't feeling like it. I was like, man, are you home? It was like, what, about 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock? I was like, man, are you home yet? You're like, just landed. I was like, oh, forget it. I was like, we'll postpone. I go, I'm wiped. I worked 8 to 5 today. Culture shock. So I left the house at like 20 after 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
Got there a little before 8. Had some stuff to handle. Had some had to place some orders for supplies. So I had to do that before I get cranking, and then headed to my room. And really didn't have anything specific. Had 2 things to get done today. 2 things. I had a 10 o'clock meeting, department meeting, and then we have a new platform for our digital learning, and we had to complete an online training, which was comprised of 6 modules. And of course, each module has its own little 6 or 7 things in it that you have to go through. Then you take an assessment at the end. You have to make 100 on all the assessments, and in order to be done with all 6. So I guess I started that at about 11:30, and throw in a quick 30-minute trip to go get lunch and back. I guess I got done about 3:30 or 3:45. So just over 4 hours to do this. Now, let me just say this. It's not like the content took me 4 hours to go through. Okay.
Right.
This is the system that our district is banking on working for 115,000 students and 15,000 teachers. It took me 4 hours to get through something when normally I would just click through in about 25 minutes. Okay.
Right.
I think on one section, I think I took the quiz 4 times before it recorded it. I think another one, I took it 3 times before it recorded it. Multiple times, it would just give me a white screen where it would do nothing. A couple different times, I would click on begin assessment, and it would tell me there's no assessment available. So it gave me a little bit of pause in terms of when we rolled this thing out for parents and students coming up. So,
I'm going to tell you my opinion.
I'm a little concerned.
Let me just say this. There was a reason why they call it Tennessee Ready, but TCAP, the assessment up here in Tennessee, went from online back to pencil and paper. And I think there's going to be multiple issues with technology and students not being able to access it. They don't have the right program. Their internet is down. A storm knocked out this or that. Dude, we're on the front line, and we're going to take a lot of body blows.
Oh, we're going to take gut shots, kidney shots, rabbit punches. We're going to take everything, and we're just going to have to do just that. We're going to have to take it. And okay, I'm okay with that. I really feel for the teachers that are in like their 2nd, 3rd, 4th year. They're like, what is this? What it's going to is? Holy cow. Like, because for me and you, how many changes, different programs have we been through in our tenure?
Too many to count.
Too many to count. We've been there, done that. We're flexible, and I think that's something that we're going to have to continue to be, is flexible and creative, which we can do. But I tell you what, it does concern me that this platform is not going to be able to hold up to the volume that we're forcing onto it. Now, I hope before they spend all this money on this thing that it has been proven in other systems of equal or larger size than ours. But that, again, I don't know anything more about it other than, hey, this is the system. This is what we're using. You're mandated to use it. So that was kind of what our department meeting was about today. We talked about, best strategies to implement it. Here's my thing. Like you said, how many kids are going to be in homes where there are three children, all at
Yeah.
school age with one computer? So you're
Well,
telling me like we have a schedule, which is actually better than it was in the spring. The spring was a complete nightmare.
right.
So the accountability is as follows. We have first period from 8 to 9:10. We have a 10-minute break between each period. Then we have second period from 9:20 to 10:30, 10:40 to 11:50. We have a 30-minute break for lunch. Come back at 12:20 to 1:30, and then the teachers have 1:30 to 3:30 to do communications, planning, etc. Wednesday is a planning day, meeting day. So the students are not required to be interacting with you. So you're not taking attendance on Wednesday. So it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We just found that out today. So, the key is going to be that very first day. It's like, look, guys, you're in first period. You're expected to be online at 8:00. I'll take attendance. You're expected to, be dressed like you would go to school, and just establishing, because that's what, we're going to be professional. We're going to be, I'm not going to look like this.
Will you be dressed?
I will be dressed. I will have a collared shirt.
There you go.
I'll have a collared shirt. I'll be dressed professional, just like as if I were in the classroom. So, we're going to have to set certain standards and norms for our classes moving forward. And I think if you can do that on that first day, you'll solve a lot of problems. But again, they're working to get everybody devices, and that's just in a district our size, man, that's going to be tough, man. That's going to be tough. I guess that's what the 3 weeks of planning is for us to get everything on this platform to where people can access it fairly easily. So,
well, I'll just say this: in the county that I teach in, and each student is going to have their own individual Chromebook that has already been downloaded all the apps and the proper, what am I trying to say, Adam? All the learning tools that they're going to need are already downloaded.
Online resources.
So they do not have to depend on their own computer. But what they need to depend on is the speed of their internet. Like when I thought you were talking about 3 kids on the Wi-Fi at the same time, sometimes it slows it up. Somebody gets kicked off.
Right.
And you don't know if that's the case. It's just like that. I follow a guy that's a professional poker player, and I know you're shocked by this, yes. But he the World Series of Poker, which usually is being held right now in the month of July out in Las Vegas, is now gone online. Well, this particular poker player lives in New York. The World Series of Poker has set up these rules to where you must be in Nevada or New Jersey to be eligible to participate. And so the poker player that I follow, he won a bracelet event in the online World Series of Poker, sitting in a Whole Foods right in Sheboygan, New Jersey. So shout out to Ryan DePaulo. And that just goes to show you, hey.
When properly motivated, you can learn anywhere.
Anywhere.
Starbucks,
McDonald's, who knows?
Hey, doesn't matter. And that's the thing too, is, you can problem solve. If you go and you've got your Chromebook, say you're a kid and you've got your Chromebook and you can't get on, something wrong with there are places you can go, you get your parents or somebody drive you to a library or to a place that's got free Wi-Fi or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There are ways, problem solve the issue. I mean, if it's, there's other alternatives. I think that's one thing that we need to teach our kids, that, hey, you have alternatives. My dad always taught me that there's always an alternative to the normal way to do something. If that avenue is not available, then there's an alternative for you. So As far as alternatives go, next hot take, Brees, is we got to talk about the tale of two nines is basically what I've called it. If I'm writing a memoir of my life,
Yeah.
Sunday's round.
Yeah,
Sunday's
look,
round.
I just want to set this up for the listeners that have not a clue and are just new to this. Adam has reinvigorated his golf game. All right,
I've reinvented it. I've reinvented myself.
Reinvented it as well, and whatever. So his last hurrah, I guess, with the boys.
Well, maybe not, because we got 3 weeks of pre-planning, so we might squeeze in a late afternoon session. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess your ultimate goal is breaking 90. You felt like you had the momentum. You've been playing it a lot. Your wife is even on board with this breaking 90 thing.
Yeah, she's on board, fully on board.
And, you've played a lot of various courses, some good, some bad, but the common denominator is Woodland Hills, correct?
Woodland Hills seems to be I think of all the ones I've played, that's probably 80%.
So
80% or 90%.
You go in, you play with 3 other guys. Sunday, the big moment is happening, and you start out on fire.
I mean, I'm killing it. I start out. I almost drive the green on a par 4, first hole. I ended up there's 2 bunkers in front. I ended up in the bunker on the right. I got it out of the bunker, no problem. Missed a birdie putt, so 2-putted par. Second hole, which is you don't want to go for the green because it's deceptive. You just want to put it about 160 yards out there to the end of the fairway, and then you got a nice pitching wedge, which I did. Landed it just short, pitched it up. 1 putt, par. So I start off on par. So I'm like, whoa, this is good, and I'm playing well. Then a double bogey, par 3. Come back on the next hole, par. Hole 5 is a par 5, par. So now through 5 holes, I've gone 4-4, 5-4-5. Okay, so I'm like 22 after 5 holes. So I'm feeling pretty good. Then I go double bogey, 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 bogey. But still, that's my best 9 holes ever, 43 on the front. So I took your advice. I didn't look at the scorecard at a single time. I didn't do it. I didn't look at the scorecard. I knew I was playing well. Didn't look at the scorecard a single time. And when we got done with 9, the guy who was keeping the score, because I didn't have a pencil, so I wasn't keeping score. I was keeping score on my app, but it doesn't do the round until like the very end.
Right.
And so we got done. And he gets back in his cart. And he goes, "What'd you get?" I said, 5. He's like, "Freeman, you shot 43." Okay. I was like, "Really?" So I go to 10. Normally I hit 4 hybrid. I decide, you know what? I'm going to hit 3 hybrid. It was a mistake. I hooked it down into the woods down there, we're at the end of the range. Okay. So my second shot is uphill. So I end up bogeying that hole. I make a real good third shot to get me close. And I 2-putt. And then I get to par 5, double bogey par 5, which I shouldn't have done double bogey because it's a great drive. And it didn't even hit the water, just misplayed some shots. Actually, I did hit it in the water. I take that back. Hit my third shot in the water. So that hurt me. Par 3, double bogey. Then I parred. Then I double bogeyed another par 3. I mean, I double bogeyed every par 3 on the course. And I had 3 3-putts. Then I get to 15, which is a par 5. Great drive. 4 hybrid onto the green. I'm putting for eagle. from like 30 feet uphill.
And for golfers like you and me, that doesn't happen a lot.
That never happens, dude. Never happens. So I'm putting uphill for eagle, 30 feet out.
That's okay. You're putting.
I leave it like 9 feet short. And I missed the par putt, or I missed the birdie putt, and then I tap in for a par. So I 3-putt a par 5 where I was putting for eagle.
Yeah.
And then I double bogey the last par 3, and then the absolute wheels came off on the last 2 holes. The last 2 holes, I went quintuple bogey on 17, and I went double bogey on 18. It was the most monumental collapse ever. My drive, it started with my drive on 17. My drive on 17 went down that hill. Luckily, I found it. Took me 2 shots to get it back in the fairway. And it was awful. It was awful. And then before we teed off on 18, me and Terry come down 18. You know how on the 18 you have to drive backwards to the tee box?
Yeah.
And there's that tight turnaround.
Right.
Well, the guys we were playing with, they had put their golf cart on top of the curb and it was stuck. So we had to lift the golf cart like off the curb. So I'm like, I'm going to get a back injury here lifting this golf cart, and then I got to go hit a ball. So it started great. My drive, I crushed my drive, but I hit it too far. Okay, I hit it through the dog leg. So it was just one of those things where the last two, and it was so hot. It was so hot. I mean, once the temperatures die down a little, I feel like maybe I'd have a little bit of an advantage, but it was a giant back 9 collapse. Shot a 52 on the back, which is what I was doing last year. So anyway, I still shot a 95, which was okay.
Right.
But I was sitting there after 16 holes. Really after 15 holes, I had 74. Then I went double, quint, double. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, anyway, I know that course well enough, though. I think I could definitely break 90 on it if I played it again. So hopefully I'll get another chance for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you're going to I think you'll find some time to have another chance.
Yeah, I think I probably will. All right. So that gets us to, as I'm sitting here got the Braves game on in the background here. And our next hot take is we got some issues here, Brees, in Major League Baseball. I know this is really making you cry, but it kind of reminds me of what happened to Nashville's MLS team.
I mean, I personally, I feel very bad for the way this is starting to happen, because I know a lot of people are looking at professional sports as the glue that tries to hold to hold this together. And if we can't get through a baseball game, which is played outside without any fans in the stands, it's not looking good.
Yeah.
And you got to give props to the NBA for somehow, it may be awful for the players, but at least they got it right in my eyes.
At least it's a safe environment, right?
Right.
And because, the baseball, they're not in a bubble.
No.
They're traveling. Some are traveling. I think the Marlins are staying in Philadelphia, which is why their game, I think, tomorrow is canceled.
Yeah, where did the Marlins catch it, though?
I mean,
Atlanta.
Where did they start? They would have had to have
I heard they got it in Atlanta. It's where it all started to trickle down.
Wait, Braves haven't played in Atlanta yet. Unless they played an exhibition or something.
Maybe. I'll have to research that.
Yeah, it's possible. That may have been because they did play their last exhibition in Atlanta. So if you're going to contact Trace, you're going to go back and you're going to, okay, Braves, sit it out. I don't know. But you got 11 players, 2 coaches tested positive. Out of 30 players, you had 11 test positive. So what do? You ride with the guys that you got left. You put them on a plane and and play? I mean, you're at a
Well, I
decided
heard I did hear
disadvantage
I heard they reached out to Derek Jeter.
to see if he gets suit up again.
Well, he's an owner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's crazy.
It's not. I mean, it will really have far-reaching repercussions if they decide whatever they decide to do. I mean, if they decide to shut things down, boy, that could be
All
really
right.
bad. Let's
So
be honest, though.
yeah.
I've watched some games. I watched Dodgers games. I think I watched Angels game, Braves game. These guys are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. There's contact. They're high-fiving.
Yes.
So
I mean the guy that hit a walk-off grand slam, they were like pile dogging him, and
yeah, so they're compound the fact that they're not in a bubble.
yeah.
You're right. It doesn't really bode well. The next, again, we keep saying this, the next couple of days will tell. I know. But, should they do more testing, daily testing like the NBA? I think the NBA's model is pretty good. It's proved to be, the better. I think of all the professional sports, we'll yet to see what the NFL is going to do once they get into training camps and stuff. But anyway, speaking of the NFL, does this matter? Is this a big deal? Does this matter at all? Jamal Adams going west. He was unhappy. He's complaining. He complained to the owner, the general manager. Then he starts talking bad about the coach. Basically, he was just setting every fire he could so he could get out of New York. Yeah. Well, guess what? You got your wish.
Good job, buddy.
And here's the thing. Like, they were talking to Seattle long before he was even complaining, whether he knew it or not.
Yeah.
Because I think they wanted to basically move him because he was one of their big assets and thought they could get something for him. Do you think Seattle gave up too much for him?
Well, I mean, Jamal Adams is only 24 years old. And to have a guy like that, to know that you do not have to draft a safety that high, it's like having your franchise quarterback or your running back or your receiver signed. I mean, do I think they did? Probably, but somehow people want to play for Russell Wilson. And if Russell Wilson says, go get him, there's a lot of franchise players that I think have a big voice in a lot of things. But the quiet assassin of Russell Wilson going to Pete Carroll and saying, hey, buddy, I think Jamal Adams would fit in well with us.
Yeah.
Hey, I think Jadeveon Clowney will not fit in well with us.
Yeah. And the thing, too, that you also need to understand about Jamal Adams, he actually played more snaps at outside linebacker and defensive end than he did at safety.
Yeah.
So he's versatile. So you can put him just about anywhere. And he can cover. He can defend the run. He can rush the pass. I mean, he can do all those things from multiple spots. So
for sure.
Do I think he's valuable? Yes. Do I think he was worth 2 first-round picks, a third and a fourth? No, I really don't. I don't. But the Jets, shoot, hats off to them. You got your quarterback, you got your running back, and now you got these draft picks. So I mean, they're in a pretty good position, I think, where they can build. But again, you come back to the fact it's the Jets. I mean, it just seems like, one playoff appearance in the last 11 years.
Yeah.
It just seems like no matter what they do, who they get, it doesn't matter because they're the Jets, So I don't know that this makes a difference. I think it may make a difference more for the Jets than it will for the Seahawks, because Seahawks are in a division with the Niners, the Rams, and the Cardinals, who are kind of up and coming. The Rams, they can score. San Francisco was in the Super Bowl last year. I don't think people were trying to say, hey, this puts Seattle at the top of the NFC to contend for the NFC title. I don't see that. I mean, are we forgetting that we have New Orleans and Green Bay in the NFC and San Francisco and, oh, by the way, Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
Tom Brady? I mean, are we just forgetting about those teams now? You know, do I think they could make the playoffs? Probably. But guess what? There's an extra team next year. So, you know, even the Falcons have a chance to make the playoffs more than they did last year. So anyway, it's just interesting to see. All right, so our last two hot takes are the ones that I'm really fired up about. I know you love this next one. All right. Lou Williams, who's a local guy, okay, plays high school basketball in Atlanta. He's got some connections here. So he is photographed at a gentleman's club with a member of the entertainment community here in Atlanta.
Hold on, Adam. Hold on. Stop right there. I think you need to do some more backstory of.
Listen, I'm getting. I know what.
Okay. All
but
right.
Go ahead. But I'll let you take it over because
I don't listen. I just want to make sure that we didn't skip the most important value part of this story. Lou Williams goes to the NBA and says, "Guys, I got to go to my grandfather's funeral."
Yeah, it's a bereavement leave situation.
NBA says, "You know what? You do that, but you're going to have to come back in quarantine."
And he's like, "Okay, I'm good. All right, I can do that."
Now, we've caught up to Lou heading to the Magic City Strip Club.
Yeah, so now we are to the point where he tells the NBA, and that was news, okay, because that was gonna conflict with the first few scrimmages, right? So we're thinking, oh, Clippers are contenders. Wait a minute, they're going to be without Lou Williams for this bereavement leave. Oh gosh, what are they going to do? So that was a story for like 2 days. Then this breaks. And then it breaks later that, I was just picking up some food because apparently he has an item on the menu. I think it's Lou's lemon pepper wings.
Yep.
Down there that are named after him. And that's what he was doing. He was picking up some lemon pepper wings and taking them, possibly, I guess, taking them back to maybe taking them back to his grandmother's house where they were having
sure.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have some good lemon pepper wings. And he obviously knows where to get them. So he was elected to be the guy to go and collect them. I mean, okay, I can understand that. But of all the wing joints in Atlanta, I'm pretty sure he could have found, I'm not buying it, but I don't think the NBA cares, okay? Because he's back, correct?
Well, are you going to talk about Jack Harlow?
No.
You're not.
You can't. No, you can't because I don't know who that guy is.
So how this all apparently just came about and how all the stories, when you don't tell the truth, you keep non-telling the truth and they just keep getting deeper and deeper in a hole. Well, it just comes to find out that Lou Williams was photographed by some rapper named Jack Harlow. Obviously, myself and you, we have no clue who Jack Harlow is.
I have no idea.
But he put it on his Instagram story. This was taken at the Music City Gentlemen's Club. Harlow then tweeted out, that was an old picture of me and Lou. I was just reminiscing because I miss him. So he tried to cover for his buddy, Lou Williams. And guess what? NBA's not buying that. Not buying it, buddy.
Timestamp. Yeah, we're not buying. Timestamp. We're not buying that, pal. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow. So he is. Is he back? Is he in quarantine? Did he come back yet? I don't know that.
To be honest with you, I don't know. The Clippers are a mess right now.
Yeah.
I can just tell you that.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I don't see anybody except the Lakers coming out of the West anyway, so I don't think it matters. Speaking of the NBA West, now when Lou Williams comes back, what does he face?
10 days.
Okay, he faces a 10-day quarantine, which is the norm, right?
Supposed to be.
Wrong. It's the norm unless you're Zion Williamson and you get a 4-day quarantine. Oh, wait a second. gee, today's the 27th, and you're back on the 26th. Oh, your first game's the 30th. Tell you what, 4-day quarantine is enough for you. You'll be eligible to play on opening night. Now, come on now. Now tell me that's not, why is nobody talking about this?
I don't know.
Like, everybody's so concerned with Lou Williams. At least he's going through a 10-day quarantine when he comes back.
Yeah.
Zion comes back. I mean, he had a legitimate leave, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. But there's a policy in place for a reason, for safety. And this guy's coming back, and you're going to make it 4 days instead of here's how they're going to spin this. Oh, well, when he was on his leave, he quarantined for 6 days. After the funeral or whatever it was that happened, he was quarantined for 6 days. And then when he comes back, he started quarantining on July 20th.
Right.
So, according to his agent, he was quarantining by July 20th because the service was on the 18th and whatever, that's what they're going to say. That'll come out. Just watch. But yeah, his sort of quarantine is just interesting. The 4-day quarantine. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. He should be able to practice with the Pelicans either tomorrow afternoon or Wednesday morning.
Wow.
Just in time.
So from 14 to 10, now it's 4. In another month it'll be 48 hours.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, we're excited that we got our app launched on Friday on the App Store, Hawaii Nation Sports app on the App Store, and it's actually, I think, created some. We've got a lot of listens today. I think we had, almost 40, something like that. I'll give you the exact update when we get off the air. But
wow,
it was. We're getting some more traffic on our podcast as well as the Hawaii Nation Sports Broadcasting podcast. Encourage everybody to listen on all of our platforms. Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeart, and Spotify, as well as take a look at our YouTube channel and subscribe to that, Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul. And follow us on Twitter. Twitter's the interesting part because Paul's our Twitter master at @DThroughSports. So, Paul, any last words for tonight's episode?
You know what? I'm just glad to be at home. Glad to be back in the home turf. I know you're going to say, wait a minute, you just left the beach. You mean I left the tropical storm, okay?
Yeah.
So, I'm good. But, just hang with us. We're going to have some more exciting guests coming up. And, hey, just another day of sports and how things change at a moment's notice.
Absolutely. Drop of a hat. Thank you guys for listening. So for Paul Brees, I am Adam Freeman. You've been listening to Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul.